It's the very first Windsor Concours of Elegance, and if Pebble Beach has the Pacific Ocean, well, the Windsor Castle is no less stunning a backdrop, eh? The Queen's weekend home is as grand as it gets, and the central quadrangle in the castle's upper ward is the perfect setting indeed. 60 masterpieces, with half having come in from outside the UK, but some British gems too, no doubt. Let me kick off with this car, a 1954 Austin Healey 100S. The sports car was built by Austin in collaboration with Donald Healey and could reach speeds of 100 miles per hour. The reason I'm excited about it is because you saw its owner in our first segment, Mark Knopfler. Okay, but how about we get as British as we possibly can? Now we're inside the Windsor Castle, so of course you've got to also take a look at a few royal gems. So we're lucky enough that some of these beautiful exhibits are here, which are of course from the royal family. The Ascot Landau is something that the family still uses to get to the Royal Ascot, but you of course have to have Rolls-Royce. That brand definitely goes with the royal family. But here's a little bit of a special car that I want to talk about. Now, it is of course a gorgeous Aston Martin, but the reason it got a little bit more sort of notoriety of late, got a little famous, is because you know, you had it actually be a part of the royal wedding, and recently you had the royal wedding, remember, and so at the end of the ceremony, the newlyweds, William and Kate, actually drove out in this car, and of course it belongs to Prince Charles. It was a gift to him on his 30th birthday from the Queen, and you of course know it belongs to the Prince of Wales because it also has this very special dragon right here up on the hood. Now, the other interesting bit of trivia around this car is the fact that it actually runs on biofuel. Now, if the Queen has her collection of Rolls-Royces, check out this 1925 Phantom 1 Jonquière Coupe. It's almost a little hard to believe that this car dates back to 1925. Well, it kind of looks like it's out of a Hollywood Batman production in some senses, but it is of course a Phantom, like I said, from 1925. But it's not exactly how all of these cars used to look back then, because the owner decided that he wanted something a little bit extra, and so of course he sent it to a coach builder in Belgium. So what you see is a very sort of flamboyant, very distinct looking car as a result of that, and so a lot of metal along the side. It almost looks like it's sort of flush with the ground. You can barely tell that it's on wheels. It seems to almost glide when it moves, and at the back, that massive fin, I mean, just look at it. It absolutely takes your breath away.
The intention behind this car was to have something completely different, to build a Concours winning show car. When Concours were true Concours, people dressed up and presented the cars in matching outfits and things like that. It was meant to make a statement. It wasn't intended for ergonomics. It wasn't meant to be easy to get in and out of. It wasn't meant to be easy to drive. It was just meant to make a statement.
Now, there is a Lamborghini Miura back there. There is a 250 GTO here from Ferrari. I'm not going to get obsessed with the Ferraris like I usually do at such events. Yes, I know there's one back there as well, but let me show you this car instead. Now, the reason I want to show you this is because we're talking about a certain era here, and what you're seeing is a very unusual looking car in terms of design. And that's always nice, isn't it, to have the engines coming on some of these cars? Well, all right, so while that Bentley comes to life back there, let me continue to tell you a little bit more about this. I've got to get the pronunciation right. It's an Avion Voisin, and of course 1935. The point I was making about the styling, it's an era where you saw lots of flamboyant curves. Everything was flared and really rounded, and yet on this car you see a lot of straight lines. You see a lot of edges. A little bit unusual for its time, and the other reason I wanted to show you this car is because a car just like this was actually the winner at the Pebble Beach Concours in 2011. The Avion Voisin C25 Berlin Aerodyne is indeed a very rare car, and I was very happy to see it here at Windsor. And then finally there was the car I couldn't get my eyes off. Now, if I could go back in time, and if I had a lot of money in that particular time, then you know what, I'd like to actually perhaps buy one of these cars. In fact, that's the kind of thought you get pretty much when you visit these events, because you'd really wish you could own one of these, right? Well, at this particular event, it has to be this car. I mean, the SS100 from Jaguar, it's a gorgeous car. It represents everything cars of that era were supposed to be. It's flamboyant, it's very, very pretty, it's very well designed, and of course it also drove really well. So yeah, for me I think it would be a car like this. It's just a pity, unfortunately, that I can't actually own it. One of the most elegant Jaguars of the pre-war era. Very few of the SS100s were made, and by the way, very few could actually breach the 100 miles per hour barrier. But they remain very desirable amongst car collectors, fetching as much as £300,000 today. If you've enjoyed this glimpse into these glorious British car brands, you will relish our upcoming season of freewheeling even more.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.